Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to continue our NFL predictions with the Atlanta Falcons. A Falcons team that last year, they weren't bad, but I can't call them good either. They're a team that did not really impress me at all. But one person who really brought this team down was Desmond Ridder. Last year, he was the quarterback. He was not good, clearly not ready to be an NFL caliber quarterback with any team. He was benched several times for Taylor Heineke, and I know they rotated in and out, and finally Arthur Smith would let go because he was running his offense through Jonnu Smith, the tight end number 2 on the team. But this year, Falcons, there are some hope on this team. Well, they got Kirk Cousins. That's a start. And now Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, they can fulfill their potential. Maybe. So look at the Falcons' schedule. They went 7-10, meaning winning first 2 games against the Panthers and Packers, lost their next 2 to the Lions and Jaguars. Then they won one, lost one, won one. They're losing 3 straight from weeks 8 through 10. But in the late season, it was also kind of a mixed bag. I mean, they got a divisional win over the Saints, beat the Jets, beat the Colts, but they lost to the Bucks and lost to lowly Carolina during this season. And that was not enough for Arthur Smith to keep his job. Let's take a look at the highlights on this team. And we're going to start off with Young Ho Koo, the kicker, being the most consistent Falcon on the team. But, in all honesty, the Falcons were just very mid. I couldn't find many highlights on this team. Except for whenever Bijan Robinson was allowed to touch the football. But as for the lowlights, Kyle Pitts underused yet again. Seriously, this guy only has 6 touchdowns in his 3 years with the Falcons. And some of it has been Arthur Smith's fault. I think with the new system, he will probably be one of the main focus on this Falcons passing offense. But that same could go for Drake London and Bijan Robinson being woefully underused in Atlanta. And then obviously Desmond Ridder not being the guy, because he basically held back this team. If you look at their schedule, the Falcons, they could have easily won the NFC South, as bad as that conference division was. But Desmond Ridder was unable to get over the hump. And now looking at their acquisitions, and the big one that they add that I mentioned earlier was Kirk Cousins. And they also added Darnell Mooney, the wide receiver from Chicago, and they got Rondale Moore in the trade with Arizona. Now they did lose their all-pro superstar tight end, Jonnu Smith. He's now gone to Miami. Desmond Ridder, he's part of that Rondale Moore trade, so he's in Arizona now. And Jeff Okudah, I believe he's in Houston. Correct me if I'm wrong. And while the Falcons had an okay free agency class, seriously, adding Kirk Cousins boosted up that team alone. The draft had a lot of question marks. Instead of taking pass rusher Dallas Turner with the 8th overall pick, the Falcons swung and decided to take Michael Penix Jr., quarterback from Washington, without the knowledge of Kirk Cousins, meaning this is year number 5 or 6 that the Falcons ignored their glaring need at pass rush. They also took a defensive tackle from Clemson. They took a linebacker from Washington, a deep tackle from Oregon. But again, no one to rush the passer, and that could hold back the Falcons. But what do I think of their schedule? Let's take a look and find out. Okay, Atlanta, let's take a look at your schedule where Kirk Cousins will be your quarterback. In week 1, it's going to start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's one team the Falcons just don't know how to play against. I think they're like 15-2 historically whenever they take on the Atlanta Falcons. So I think the trend will continue week 1. Rough start. Then week 2 against the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night. I would take Atlanta to win this one, but since the game is in Philadelphia, I gotta roll with the Eagles to win. And then the Chiefs, I think that game's gonna be no contest. So an 0-3 start, yikes, in the Raheem Morris era. But hey, how about two wins against your divisional opponents, against the Saints and then the Buccaneers? With that Buck game being on Thursday night. But then week 6, I have them getting stunned in Charlotte by the Carolina Panthers. In week 7, I got them getting stunned at home against the Seattle Seahawks. So Kirk Cousins so far is turning the Atlanta Falcons into the Heartbreak Vikings. And how about this? Another loss, this time to the division rival Falcons, and I already gave them a week 9 loss to the Dallas Cowboys. But then a week 10, then the Saints, I think, going to avenge. I think they split with the New Orleans Saints this year. But I think the losing will end week 11 against the Denver Broncos. So after their bye week, they have the Chargers. And I got to take the Chargers to win on the road. I do think the Chargers are going to be improved. Week 14 is going to be against the Vikings. Give the Falcons a road win. Week 15 at the Raiders. How about another road win for the Falcons? But week 16, I gave them a win against the Giants, gave them a win against the Commanders, and I gave them a win against the Panthers to close their season. And that brings their record to 8-9, which in the putrid NFC South, that might be enough to win their division. Got to see how the other teams look. But anyway, that concludes the Falcons predictions. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Gamble safely, and I'll see you next time.